What if the electric future we're being sold isn't exactly what it seems? For years, the world has been told a simple story. Electric vehicles are the future, clean, innovative, unstoppable. And at the center of that story, one name has risen faster than anyone expected: BYD. A company that went from being underestimated, even mocked, to overtaking giants like Tesla. But behind that success, there are whispers, patterns, and a series of uncomfortable questions. Tonight, we're opening 5 files. Each one reveals a piece of a bigger mystery. And by the end, you might start seeing the electric revolution very differently. File 1. The rise that happened too fast. For over a century, the global auto industry was controlled by familiar names. Companies like Toyota, Ford, and Volkswagen dominated the roads. Then suddenly, almost out of nowhere, BYD surged ahead. Founded by Wang Chuanfu, a battery engineer with a vision, the company didn't just compete, it expanded aggressively across Asia, Europe, and South America. Sales skyrocketed, production scaled rapidly, and headlines began calling BYD the new king of EVs. But here's the twist. Rapid growth in business usually comes with visible struggle, supply issues, financial pressure, market resistance. With BYD, that struggle seemed invisible, almost as if something was quietly smoothing the path. File 2. The self-sufficient machine. One of BYD's biggest strengths is something called vertical integration. They don't just build cars, they build the batteries, the chips, the motors, even the software. Everything happens inside their own ecosystem. On paper, it's brilliant. Lower costs, faster production, total control. Their signature innovation, the Blade battery, made electric cars cheaper and safer. It helped them reach millions of customers who couldn't afford premium EVs. But here's the unexpected twist. When a company controls everything, it also controls what gets seen and what doesn't. Independent verification becomes harder, external accountability becomes weaker, and that raises a critical question. If something goes wrong inside a fully self-contained system, who's really checking it? File 3. The invisible hand. Behind every major industry shift, there's usually more than just business strategy. In BYD's case, many analysts point to a national plan known as Made in China 2025, a strategy designed to dominate future technologies, including electric vehicles. Reports suggest that BYD has received massive support, subsidies worth billions, access to land, tax benefits, favorable loans. Now, government support isn't unusual, but here's where it gets interesting. The scale of support appears to be so large that it may have changed the rules of competition entirely. Companies in other countries operate under market pressure, profit and loss, risk and consequence. But if a company is heavily backed, does it really play by the same rules? Or is it operating with a safety net no one else has? File 4. The cars that nobody drove. This is where the story takes a darker turn. There have been claims about something called zero-mileage used cars. Here's how it allegedly works. Dealers register new vehicles as sold, often to affiliated or shell companies, without those cars ever being driven. On paper, sales numbers rise. In reality, thousands of vehicles sit unused in massive lots, fields filled with brand new cars, silent, unclaimed, almost like a graveyard of machines that were never meant to be used. And here's the twist. If sales numbers can be inflated like this, then the growth we see might not fully reflect real demand, which leads to a bigger question. Are we looking at genuine success or a carefully constructed illusion? File 5. The cost behind the curtain. Every empire has a cost. In BYD's case, some reports suggest long delays in payments to suppliers. In some cases, companies reportedly wait months, even close to a year, to get paid. That effectively turns suppliers into unofficial lenders. Meanwhile, concerns have surfaced about product quality. Recalls involving batteries and steering systems have raised eyebrows. And then there are labor allegations. In places like Brazil, investigations have pointed to working conditions that some have described as deeply troubling. But here's the final twist. Despite all of this, the growth continues. The expansion doesn't slow down. The headlines remain largely positive, which creates a strange contradiction. If the problems are real, why isn't the impact visible? So what are we really looking at? A revolutionary company changing the world? A system powered by strategy and state support? Or something more fragile, hidden beneath the surface? Some analysts have even compared the situation to Evergrande, a giant that once seemed unstoppable until it wasn't. And that's what makes this story so unsettling, because if the foundation isn't as strong as it looks, the consequences won't just affect one company, they could ripple across the entire global market. Now, here's the question for you. Do you think BYD's rise is a true innovation story, or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think. And if you enjoy uncovering stories like this, make sure you subscribe, because the next file we open might be even more surprising. The file is closing for now.